We are people. I'm a person. And we create businesses. The reputation of each of these, whether it's a person or a business, that's what we call a brand. As the name suggests, a personal brand is focused on one person or personality. Gary Vee, Oprah, Tony Robbins, Elon Musk, right? Those are personal brands. It's a person behind it. Even fictional people like Harry Potter or James Bond, they have a certain presence. They have a character, right? It's a brand. Now, a business brand represents something bigger than yourself, something that can outlive you, something that lets you create a legacy. Usually or ideally, a business brand is crafted from scratch. Examples would be Tesla or Coca-Cola, Nike, IKEA, and so on. Those are business brands. Now, what should you do? And this is important. I want you to understand this. You definitely have already, and you will need to grow your personal brand. So even once you step into the business world, you will still have, and you should grow your personal brand. It will always be bigger than the business brand because it's the person. People connect with people. That's what it is. If you look at Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, like their personal brands have a lot more followers than their business brands. Elon Musk has more followers with his personal brand than he has with all his business brands combined. They don't have as many followers as he has as a person. So it's important to consider that when you create your business brand in the future. But you also have to be aware of the limitations of personal brands. You can't sell them very well. I mean, you can, but there are limitations to it, right? Let me show you an example. So Dr. Steve Tullius, he was my very first chiropractor. I met him when he had his practice in Grove Beach, California, when I was still living there. And it was called Tullius Chiropractic Center. A couple years after we met, he sold his practice to travel the world with his family. And just recently, he told me that when he chose the name for his practice back then, he never really thought about someday not being there in Grove Beach. Well, guess what happened after he sold his practice? The new owner called me to rebrand it. Lucky me. It became Beacon Chiropractic. Not named after the owner, by the way. But Steve is smart. And when he opened his new practice after he came back from his travels, did he name it Tullius Chiropractic Center? No. He named it the Center for Health and Human Potential. Which one sounds bigger? Which one sounds like it has a purpose? Now he has multiple clinics in different locations. He just moved to a different state. He's planning on opening more clinics there. There's a lot more that you can fit into a Center for Health and Human Potential, right? Now you might be thinking, well, I'm the doctor. People come here because of me, right? Shouldn't my practice be named after me? There are plenty of examples of doctors who do that, and it's fine. There are plenty of huge brands that are named after the owner, and they still became huge brands. But you might be limiting your future options. What do you think is easier to sell or scale or franchise? Tullius Chiropractic Center or Center for Health and Human Potential? Which one would you rather work for as an associate doctor, for example, where you can grow your own personal brand until you open your own business? Or maybe even just to stay there and be happy as an associate. That's a perfectly fine thing to do. Not everybody has to open their own clinic. The good news is that you can always change your mind. There's nothing wrong with rebranding yourself or your clinic. You can look up any big brand and Google their history, Google their brand evolution, and you'll see how their business came to be, where the name came from, and how their logo has changed over the years. So there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have the awareness, why not start right? Why not start with a little bit look into the future?